Hey everyone and welcome back. So in the previous video, we have learned how to connect our Android application to Firebase Realtime Database. But in this video, I'm going to move on and continue creating the rest of our application. So as usual, I'll always start by creating my packages. First one is UI. I'll move this one here, refactor, and call this activity to login activity as usual, and remove this line. And let's create other packages, remote for our Firebase client, and then repository for our main repository. Let's create utils package, and the last one is WebRTC package. Okay, so let's see what's going on inside our login activity. Let's actually refactor this one as well. So I'll just rename to activity login. Simple as that. Let's see what's going on here. We just have a simple username, a button to log into our Firebase, and then move to the activity call. Simple as that. No authentication, nothing. We just get a username and go to the call activity. So let's go back here and start creating our views with activity main binding. Oops, looks like I forgot to add view binding to my project since I'm using view bindings, and set enable to true. Let's sync it. Actually, it has to be view binding, not things. Okay, let's go back to our login activity and activity login binding, and let's name it views. Go back here and declare our views is equal to activity login binding inflate and pass get layout inflator. And for view, we simply pass views dot get root. Let's create a function private void init, and this function will be called here. And inside this init block, I'll use view binding, enter button, and set a click listener to it. Set on click listener. I'll use lambda function like this, and then using some logics, we would log into Firebase here, and if success, then we want to move to, let's say, call activity. So let's create our call activity here. It's going to be a Java class. Call activity is going to extend from app compat activity, and let's initialize the private activity call binding called views, and override on create function, and declare our views variable like this, activity called inflator and get layout inflator, and then set content view to views dot get root. And then do not forget to come here and add your activity as well, call activity, and set exported to true. And the last one is private void init, and we will call it inside here. Let's go back to our login activity and check if our start activity function would work with a new intent from login dot this and call activity dot class. So let's run our application and check if it's working well. And as you can see, yep, this intent is working pretty fine. So right here, we have to create a logic to log into our Firebase. So to do that, I'll create my repository class called main repository. And also inside remote package, I'll create my Firebase client. So let's start with our Firebase client. Inside my Firebase clients, I don't need any kind of constructor. I'll just use the default one, and I'll have private final JSON object of type JSON is equal to new JSON, private static, private just final database reference of dbref is equal to FirebaseClient get instance Firebase database that get instance and get reference. And I'll store my username here, string current username, and then the last one is going to be my latest events field name. So I'll use it as static final variable, string latest events field name is equal to latest events or event, just like that. And we're going to have three functions. First one is login, second one is send message to other user. I'll add the arguments later. This one is void as well, and the last one public void observe incoming latest event. So for the login, you'll just get the username, and then we are going to need two callbacks here. I'll create a Java class, an interface, success callback, and also I'll create another one called error callback. And inside my success callback, I'll have a void function on success, just like that. And inside my error callback, I simply will have a void function of on error. Simple as that. So let's go back here and add success callback here. And then right here, using our dbref, I'll inside the child of username, I'll set the value to an empty string and add on complete listener, and let's set, we'll get a task here. And then first we wanna set the username to this username, and then call our callback dot on success. Simple as that. So let's go back to our main repository here and create an object of our Firebase client. It's going to be private Firebase client. And to construct this class, I'll use the singleton pattern called private static main repository and name it instance, and using public static main repository and called get instance, we simply check if instance is null, then instance is equal to new main repository, and then return the instance. So that's the singleton design pattern. And here I'll create a login function as well, public void login. It's going to have the exact same string username and then a success callback. And then using Firebase client, we simply call the login and pass the username to it. And for the success callback, I'll just use a lambda function like this, and then call the callback function. But here, the reason of using this one, it's because I want to store my username variable, private string current username, and using a function called private void update current username and get a string with the name of username, and this dot current username is equal to username. And here I just want to update current username using this username. So let's go back to our login activity and check if this function of login is working, and create a private main repository object, name it main repository, and inside the init block I'll just initialize it like this, main repository, and get instance. And right here we wanna log into our Firebase here. So using onClick listener, I'll call main repository.login And as the username, I'll simply pass views.username, get text to string. And for the callback, I'll simply use a lambda expression, and here if the call was success, then we want to start our activity. Let's run our application and check if it's working. And inside here, we should see a new user is being added here. So let's check. The app is launched, and let me write my username here. Press enter, and there's an error. Let's see what's going on here. And it's because I forgot to initialize my Firebase client inside my main repository class. So I'll overwrite my default constructor here and like this. So this one would use my constructor right now, and this dot Firebase client is equal to new Firebase client. So let's rerun our application again. Let's go back to the code and check if it's working right now or not. Yep, as you can see, the new user is being added, and we move to the call activity. So that's it for this video, and on the next video we will learn how to interact with other users and create a way simple like a WebSocket client to connect between two users. So till the next video, see you everyone.